Welcome to the post-game show for the Brownies. How is everybody today? The Dawg post-game show here with Johnny Cleveland, and good to have you along. What a day! The Browns win it 27-25, and a nail biter to the very end, but they get the win. And folks, the Browns are 8-3. 8-3, folks. That is tremendous. It's been very interesting the last hour listening and to some of the various sports folks out there in the media, especially up in Cleveland, people calling in, talking about Baker Mayfield and how he missed the throws. And, I was pissed off too. Obviously, he missed a couple wide open throws. The throw that he missed in the first half to Hollywood Higgins, but he was trying to see around the defenders. No excuse. He made a couple other just terrible throws. But Baker Mayfield also did a lot of great things and helped the Browns win. And the Browns now are 8-3, folks. 8-3. All of you out there who say that you're Browns fans and you're complaining right now about Baker Mayfield and how he's not the guy. Are you ignoring what you're seeing and where the Browns are with their record? They're 8-3, folks. And I don't care if they've been playing teams that are under 500. I don't care. Why does that matter to you? You're 8-3, and all you guys are doing out there that are complaining is saying that your leader, your quarterback is not the guy. You're 8-3, folks, and you have a great rookie coach who helped win this game again. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry today. What a great, tremendous effort by them, by the whole team. This was a team win, folks. The Browns are minus multiple players. Myles Garrett, Ronnie Harrison went out on the first play of the game. He was his former team, Jacksonville. He was excited to get to play against them. Without Denzel Ward, there's multiple players. Our fullback is out. And you go down to Florida. You've been playing in crappy weather for the last month in Cleveland. And it wasn't going to be easy, folks. But it's Victory Monday. Victory Monday. So very excited. You should be too. What a great way to end our Thanksgiving weekend. It was my birthday this past week, by the way. And we have other birthdays today in our family. Mariah, boyfriend Matt's birthday is today. So happy birthday to Matt. And of course, my stepdaughter Kara had her birthday 2 days ago. So we are having lots of birthdays, lots of fun, lots of turkey. And so if you can see, if you're watching on Facebook Live, thank you for joining the Johnny Cleveland podcast and our post-game show of the Browns' latest win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, 27-25. I am down in our kitchen area, so I hopefully there's not much of an echo. I'm trying out some new equipment today. Got the new webcam, got a new microphone addition. So we are excited to be bringing the show to you. If you'd like to comment on the show, please send your comments to us, and we'll check those out. As you can see, the Browns did win today. Also got a few things here. We'll just share these out. Again, this is the Dawg post-game show. And so the Browns, again, pull this win out. It was there were some obvious issues, especially late in the game. The refereeing, I'm not going to blame this game on the refs, but there were certainly some calls that you really were wondering, why was that called then? It's always difficult, especially when the Browns travel. Any game is difficult, but they're winning these games. And, 3 years ago, you were 0-16, and you're now 8-3. So Baker Mayfield today finished 19 for 29. He had 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a quarterback rating over 100. I think it was 116, which is awesome. Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb was just dynamite again. He made the runs. That little screen pass that he caught at the very end of the game that sealed the deal again. You just knew, if you love Nick Chubb and you know what he can do for you as a team, he got the ball. It was they had the first down there right at the 2-minute mark. At the end of the game, he got several other runs Just, you look at that last drive, and that first, it was just the 2-minute warning. Chubb went for 12 yards in the first play. Then he got 4 yards in the next play. All this time, Jacksonville is calling timeouts to try to get the ball back one last time, because at that point, the Browns are still clinging to that 2-point lead. Then there was a 3rd down and 2. Actually, Baker had just run the ball, which was really, it was kind of a quarterback keeper, and he ran to the left and almost pulled out the first down, stopped a little bit short. So Chubb got the ball at 3rd and 2 at the end of the game. Unfortunately, the referees stepped in and decided to throw a flag and call holding against the Browns at the very end, which is ridiculous. You can call holding on any single play. So that put them back at 3rd and 12. Baker dropped back through a little screen pass to Nick Chubb, who was smart as hell, got the yardage he needed, 13 yards, and stayed in bounds, forcing Jacksonville to call their final timeout. The Browns were able then to take the knee and pull out the game. So that's just another example of what the Browns are doing, and they're doing well. This team this year, and I've said this repeatedly on this podcast, they are being coached so much better, and the players are buying into that. I wrote an article this past week. If you get a chance, I would love for you to read it. Go to clevesporttalk.com. It's my latest article about the kind of the leader of this group, Coach Stefanski, and he and the former coach Freddie Kitchens had the same message. Freddie Kitchens would talk about winning one game at a time. Stefanski says the same thing, but it's how that message is being delivered, and it continued to show again today. The Browns believe in themselves. The players, the coaches, they believe in themselves, and they are pulling these games out that traditionally in the past they would not have. Yes, this game was not pretty. It was ugly, but they won it, folks. And that's something you got to keep focused on, and that's what the coaches staff focuses on with these players. They're not going to be pretty games, and you got to take each game one at a time, and the Browns are learning how to do that magnificently. So good job, Browns. Jarvis Landry, today or yesterday, I think it was his birthday, turned 28 years old. And it was yesterday. So he had a hell of a game today. 8 catches for 143 yards. By the way, Nick Chubb just backing up there. Chubb ended up with 19 carries for 144 yards, 1 touchdown. Kareem Hunt had 10 carries for 62 yards. Browns had over 200 yards in rushing. This game just tremendous. Disregard the record, with Jacksonville. Yes, they lost to the Steelers last week by 15 or 20 points. But if you look at other games that they've lost teams to, they play the Tennessee Titans. I believe they only lost to them by a field goal. They lost to the Indianapolis Colts, I believe, also by like a field goal. So again, this Jacksonville Jaguars team is there. I mean, they're 1-10. Obviously, the record doesn't represent that, but they play hard. The Browns had to really bring it, and they did, and they got the win. One thing that the Browns did not get very well today was that their defense relies on turnovers. People are really ripping the defense again today for not showing up. But keep in mind, folks, they're out. All these players, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, they're gone. They're not playing right now. So the Browns really have to even rely harder on forcing these turnovers. The Browns did not get a forced turnover today. Now, there was a play at the very end of the game, and speaking to the refs again, about Olivia Vernon. He got a sack at the end of the game. That was a point where the Browns were still winning by 8 points. You thought, okay, that's it. There was just over 2 minutes. They can run the clock out, hopefully with Chubb and Hunt. Unfortunately, the refs decided to pull out the yellow flag again and called targeting on Vernon. If you look at the replay, the quarterback knelt down, and there was no place for Vernon to go. He's going full head of steam. So again, it was one of those things where you just really question, what are the refs doing in some of these games? But the Browns fought through that, and they got the win. So, other good things I saw too, even our kicker. He was 2 for 2, had a nice 45-yard field goal early on in the game. But again, the Browns not being able to get those turnovers. The defense was giving up big chunks of plays. Jacksonville scored on a long play in the beginning of the second half. there was some miscommunication. In the beginning of the second half, the Browns got the ball with the leads up 17-13. They really, throughout, I don't know if while you were watching it, but certainly throughout the game, you felt like the Browns really had control over what was going on. They kind of were dictating time, possession. Their offense was clicking for the most part. Baker Mayfield didn't have any more turnovers again today. Okay, folks, he's managing games. He's helping win games for the Browns. No, it was not a brilliant game for him. And he made a lot of, overthrows. And like I said earlier, missed Higgins, but he's managing games and he's continuing to help the team win. But at the beginning of that second half, they get the ball. He throws a nice pass with Harrison Bryant, the tight end, the rookie tight end who played down at Florida Atlantic, by the way. So he was returning to his roots down there in Florida. Unfortunately, he had the ball knocked out. Jacksonville recovered, and they were able to score. And then they actually they got a field goal out of that, so they cut the lead down. So that was not exactly the way you wanted the second half to get started for the Browns. But the Browns were able to hold on. They weathered that storm, and they pretty much managed the second half, kind of like they did in the first half. Baker missed, again, I know some of these shots, but Jarvis Landry made some hell of a few good catches. So these are things that are just starting to, evolve. Now, the Tennessee Titans play the Indianapolis Colts this afternoon, and Tennessee just destroyed the Colts. And the Colts are a good defensive team. And the Titans, they had a loss recently to the Steelers, but the Steelers are very good this year. So this sets up Tennessee against the Cleveland Browns next weekend in Tennessee. Now, there's been some discussion over the last few days that this game might be flexed to next Sunday evening on NBC. So we shall see if that does happen. That would be exciting for us fans to get to watch that game on national TV. We'll see what happens, but there is a possibility. Obviously COVID and what we're dealing with COVID-19 right now is affecting all sorts of players, teams, the NFL. It was amazing the number of people I've heard in the last couple of days say, "Oh, well, is the NFL going to be, able to get through?" Folks, we're in week 12 of the NFL. The NFL is not going to stop the season during week 12 of the season. Okay, and pushing forward. They will figure things out. They have not had to cancel a game yet. They're moving games around. Interesting that the Ravens and the Steelers game is getting pushed to Tuesday. Whereas the Denver Broncos are playing a game right now against they're playing the New Orleans Saints. I'm not sure on the score on that currently, but they all their quarterbacks for the Denver Broncos yesterday tested positive, or one of them tested positive, and they're all in quarantine because they all were exposed because they were not wearing masks when they were in meetings together. So the entire quarterbacking crew for Denver's not there. So I'm not sure how that game's going. If anybody would like to share a comment on that, if you know what's going on in that Denver game, I'd be interested to find out. But they are playing that game. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, again, are playing. Baltimore is 6-4. If Pittsburgh beats Baltimore on Tuesday and Pittsburgh stays undefeated, Baltimore will be 6-5. Folks, and the Browns are 8-3. They'll have a 2-game advantage over Baltimore, and they're solidifying their chance of at least a wild card playoff spot. Tremendous. The Browns last time they were this good was 1994 when they went all the way to 9-2. Now, I'm not quite sure how all of that ended up after that, but all these folks again that are calling in that are continually, saying, well, Baker's not the guy. Why are you talking about that today? Yeah, he made some overthrows. But they you can chastise them all you want, but they won the game. And when you were 0-16 or you were 1-15 or you were 3-13, you were a fan and you were sitting there and you were just depressed about those outcomes. And you're still looking at a team right now, a new team with a new spirit that are 8-3, a new coach, a new vibe, and you're complaining about that, I mean, you're not a real big Browns fan then. If that's all you're going to do. Hey, I'm the first to understand. I've been up and I've weathered the storm back and forth. And folks that know me know though that I'm a true diehard Browns fan. And I might say some silly things and be irrational at times, but Browns fans, this is something special, and you should not. You can just hold on and see what happens the rest of this season. It's been a crazy year, right? 2020. You never know what's going to happen, and but continue to just be impressed. Be happy that you're watching a team that's trying. That you have two running backs like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt that are doing just tremendous things. Running the ball. Jarvis Landry today made some great catches. Hooper got the nice touchdown in the end zone. I mean, let's see where it all takes us. Obviously, big game next week against the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk more about that later on our podcast. Please check out our clevesporttalk.com, where I write some really good articles, and I think you would really be impressed. I even throw in some movie analogies going back to the old classic movie, the Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. And if you get a chance, if you haven't seen that movie, go watch that. Oh, the other movie you might want to take a look at, since you're in a good Browns mood this weekend. We're supposed to be getting some snow, have a little snowstorm here in Ohio starting tomorrow and Tuesday. You might settle in to watch the classic with Kevin Costner, Draft Day, right? You remember that one that came out? That was exciting stuff when the Browns had that classic draft in make-believe land. But check that out too if you get a chance. All right, folks, I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in to our Dawg post-game show. We will be back later this week with a new podcast. We were going to have our special guest, actually, like I mentioned earlier, Mariah and Matt. Matt's got his birthday today, so they are not able to join us today. And my son, Alec, up there in Michigan, that's the state up north. He wasn't able to get on the show tonight, but he and his buddies are going to join us later this week as well. We'll talk Browns football and preparing for the Tennessee Titans. Until then, folks, I hope you have a great evening, and remember to keep smiling. Take care.